10% of your contract value is a lot of money. And if you're not going to get that for 12 months, you got to plan for that too. I'm signing contracts every day. Say you have a $1 million contract, the remaining 5% they keep for 12 months. And some will be $20,000 a day. It's actually illegal. The thing is, being in my position as a subcontractor, and I employ a lot of subbies like concreters and tilers when I need them, is they don't have the same terms. So they give me an invoice, they want it paid in 7 days, and that's understandable. I respect that. I always make sure it's paid purely because they didn't choose to have, 8-week payment terms. I did. I don't let that pass on to them. So part of me running this business is carrying that cash flow, and that's why margins are higher in commercial as opposed to residential, because you're expected to carry that cash flow, and there's got to be an element of interest and risk to that enables you to charge more. The other thing in commercial, which is a standard among every commercial contract, is they have what's called retention. Now what retention is they take 10% of the contract value and they deduct that from every one of your invoices for potential defects in the future. So in order for them to cover themselves, say someone has some pretty dodgy workmanship and they have to fix things, they take 10% of every bit of your claim and they keep that until the end of the build. Now at the end of the build, you're allowed to claim 50% of that 10%, so 5% of the total retention, which gets paid out once you have what we call practical completion. The remaining 5% they keep for 12 months. Say you have a $1 million contract, hypothetically, 100K of that is retained by the builder until you reach practical completion. Then they'll give you 50K back as soon as that's done. And then 12 months after, you have to do what we call a deed of release, which then enables you to receive the other 50 grand. That's another factor you have to take into account with cash flow. 10% of your contract value is a lot of money, and if you're not going to get that for 12 months, you got to plan for that too. What people don't see in the commercial side is I'm signing contracts every day. Like I'm basically a solicitor at this point, and I know what's normal on contracts, what's standing out, and you actually have to learn to push back on certain things that don't align. There are definitely red flags in building contracts that you have to pick up. They'll have a clause in there saying pay when paid, and basically what that means is they won't pay you until they get paid by the client. So say the client never pays them to a dispute, you never get paid. If you find that in a contract, you immediately got to push back because it's actually illegal. There's a law in Queensland that you're not allowed to put in contracts pay when paid. Another red flag is massive, what we call liquidated damages. So liquidated damages is what they use to recoup any losses. Say we have a job that's due for completion, April 10th, and you're delayed by whatever reason, you can't get your tile there or you can't finish it and you're late by 5 days. They then have a right to claim liquidated damages, and they will set the rates on that liquidated damages. Some will be $5,000 a day, some will be $9,000 a day, and some will be $20,000 a day, depending on contract value. But another red flag is if you have a medium-sized contract value and they're charging massive liquidated damages, it's a red flag in the fact, like, why? Why are you charging me so much? You basically got to cover yourself. So what I will do in that situation, I will push back with what we call a departure from the contract and say, yeah, sure, you can charge me liquidated damages at, $9,000 or $20,000 a day, but it'll be capped at 10% of the contract value. So if you've got $1 million contract, the max they can hit you with for liquidated damages is $100,000, because it can be the fact that they purposely delay you. Obviously, this is not the builders you want to work for, but it can happen that they can purposely delay you and claim liquidated damages and you lose everything. So it's important to, one, check how much liquidated damages is per day, and two, cap them, because they can be used against you and send you out of business. Another thing every builder will have is termination for convenience, which you kind of just got to get used to. Long story short, it just states that the builder can terminate your contract at any given point in time for no reason whatsoever, which every builder has on their contracts. However, you can push back against that and say, at least, if they're going to terminate, you need demobilization fees or, works done to that point paid out, which I would recommend. However, most of the time the builder just wants a good job, and their contracts, they've got, big expensive lawyers who cover them in every single aspect of the build, which is their job as a builder, to minimize risk. Most of these builders will have a contract between you and them, and they have a contract between them and the client or whoever they're working with, which is called the head contract. And a lot of subcontracts will say, hey, you know, in this contract, for clarification, refer the head contract, but you never get to see the head contract. So you can request that by law and they have to show you it. But most of the time they'll make you come in and view it in person. They won't send it to you. You're governed by the head contract whether you know it or not, and you never see the head contract. Something to consider.